Okay, so welcome to the Forgiveness Practice Group. So for the new people here, which is Laurie, Ashley, Pema and Alindra, I'm sorry, I'm going to say your name wrong. So if you can tolerate that, that's okay, because I say names wrong all the time. So we're not our names, so it's okay. Just so you know, there's Nikki and Robin and Annie and Kevin and Mike. So they're the 4 to 5, sorry, 5. I call them the usual suspects. They're the ones that have been with the Forgiveness Practice Group since it started, I think, or in and out, but basically that's the ones that have come on nearly every day. And so you'll hear, if you can just sort of follow the instructions for today, but we've also, because the group's been together for a while, it's moved into a little bit of a deeper sharing. So even though, so the way I run groups is that I have a light structure. It's just nice to have a little bit of a light structure, but also know that no structure, because the Holy Spirit is in charge. So anything you feel really on your heart to share about is okay to share about it. And so it's sort of, it helps to have a little bit of a structure, because it can just orientate the group towards forgiveness practice. And I might remind you at some stage just to do a prayer, which really is forgiveness. So the ones that have been in the group for a while can help the other ones, just can demonstrate how we do this forgiveness practice. So forgiveness is ultimately, there's two areas of forgiveness. Forgiveness is to see there's nothing to forgive. Ultimately, that's true forgiveness, is to see there's nothing to forgive, because nothing has happened. No part of God separated itself and became something that it's not. So nothing, if it happens here in a dream, can ever have any effect on God or our true self. Where we are cannot affect any part of reality, as it's still operating. But forgiveness is a process in the world to shift us back, to remind us of our true home and our true self. So like all the teachings of the Course, they show us, they remind us of the truth, but they also help us do something here, shift our mind. So it's all about, the miracle is a shift in perception. So the way we practice forgiveness is, if we're upset about anything, we're in our wrong mind. It's not true, but we're believing it's true. That's all. We're just believing the thoughts that are not true. We believe that they're true. We can't see them as false. So we're caught up in a false lie about ourselves and others, and we're just believing it's true. It's like when we fall asleep at night and dream a dream or a nightmare. The contents aren't true, but just for a short time we're believing they're true. So we don't try to rush and don't try to pretend that we're not believing it. We admit that we're believing it, because we have to admit that we're believing it to have us to shift into seeing that it's false. The one thing about the ego is that it creates an identity, an identity as a self. It tells us who we are, what age we are, what sex we are, it describes a story about ourselves, and all of that is untrue, but we're believing it. We're not that. We're not male or female. We're not our age. We're nothing. We're not our body. We're nothing. We're actually just this pure, infinite love, creating love from its creations. That's where we are, but here we are. The closest you can get to this is just seeing that it's a dream, it has no reality, and that you can still experience the peace of God while still seemingly be in a body, but the body is just given another function, another purpose, and it just becomes a way for God to speak through you, through your body. And that's all its only purpose. I mean, the body's just a bit of bone and flesh and eyeballs and hair. It is nothing of itself. It's like looking at your car. It has a purpose, but it's not. It was made to hide out from God, pretending we're separate, trying to make ourselves little gods. So forgiveness here is coming to take 100% responsibility for what's upsetting us today. And you could be upset today for something that has upset you every day for your whole life. But it will shift if you're willing. So the willingness is, this group's for you as you join. We don't really discuss course concepts. It's a practice group. It gets you to practice forgiveness. It orientates you with a group that are practicing. So you get the feel of practicing. So you get the willingness to join because you're watching others do it. I usually give a little talk first thing sometimes I don't. Just usually just reminders. So as we share, we just come to the group with our upset or anything you feel to talk about. But I just initially, when you come to the group, it's just, this is the upset. This is what's upsetting me right now, today, or in the last week or something. And then I give it over to the Holy Spirit or Jesus. I give it over. I'm willing to be wrong. So we can just sort of speak it out. We speak out the upset or whatever it is. And then we just say, Holy Spirit, Jesus, I give this to you. I'm done with it. I don't want this anymore. It causes me great angst. It causes me to not experience the happiness that is available to me. I've just muted Ashley. So the thing about is that peace and happiness are available to every moment. We don't have to be upset. We can be completely free. We can even be, our mind can even get above the body. It can be completely, we can have no sickness, can have what we call absolute health of the body, but that seems unusual because the body never has any autonomy. So we're actually going back to our natural state where our mind is so free of guilt and sin, the belief in guilt and sin, that the body will just be effortlessly healthy. It won't need anything. It'll need very little to sustain it because you're sustained by the love of God. So all these teachings of the Course come to be something you live with. They're not just things that you think are cute or maybe that's for someone else. And that's a high teaching. I could never reach that. We go beyond those ideas. But we work at our own pace. No one in this group judges anyone else. There's no crosstalk. There's no helping or giving advice. So it's just you and your prayer, what's coming up for you. Holy Spirit, I give this to you. I don't want it anymore. This is an ego belief, an ego thought. Above all else, I want this changed. I want to live in your love completely and divinely and beautifully. I know I can live in your mind of love and peace and joy. And I don't want to tolerate a thought or a belief that would hold me in hell. So I'm ready to give it up. I'm ready to have you bring a different perception in to change this view this belief that I've hung on to for years or days or whenever. So it comes with admitting what's happening. You don't have to go into a big story. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong in this group. And then just getting into the practice. Okay, I'm willing to be wrong about this. I don't want it anymore. I want to be at peace. Above all else, I want the peace of God. So it's the same practice every day we join, and it gets us into the practicing of forgiveness, where we admit that we might be wrong, that the cause of the suffering and upset is not outside me. It's the meaning that I've given it, and this is the meaning I've given it, and I want to be free, and there is a way to be free. So Holy Spirit, you bring in the different way of seeing this, and I want the peace of God above all else, so therefore I don't want to tolerate these beliefs that I have. So generally that's the practice of forgiveness here that we do. You don't have to follow the words I've said. You can do whatever practice suits you, whatever you find works for you. But it's really what's the most important is just your willingness and dedication and commitment. Just maybe I'm wrong. Jesus says perhaps you'd be better off if you were wrong and was the decision. In other words, you would be happier and more peaceful if you were wrong about your perception. So an unforgiving thought is one that we don't raise to doubt. So we want to bring these things that we truly are holding on to as being attacked or anything about the world or any thought or belief we have. We just open up to, okay, Jesus, I'm okay. For me to be happy, I'm willing to be wrong about this. Okay, I open up. I bring up my unforgiving thought to doubt. I doubt that maybe I'm wrong about the way I'm perceiving this person or this situation. Please help me see this differently. So any words, but really that's what we're doing here. So I might, I'll pause the recording now and I'll go into the sharing. So we don't generally record anyone's sharings. So I'm just going to stop. So I'm just sharing here about the love that we all are. And it just takes no time to turn to God, just to come with open arms and just say, oh, I just want to let go of all this belief in sin and darkness, and that I'm this little body. I want to just raise above the body. I want to come and just live in the light and the love that I am. Just let go of all these ideas about the world, and that there's something here in this world that can make me happy or bring me peace. And nothing brings me peace but the love of God. And I need do nothing to be that love. I already am it. I already am the light and the love. There's nothing I can do to change that. Even when I believe the ego's lies for years and years, there's nothing that changes my beautiful, holy perfection. I am that now. I've always been that, and I always will be that. The belief in sickness doesn't change my holy self. The belief in sin that projects sickness onto the body doesn't change that. Nothing changes the truth about who I am and where I am. A tiny tick of time. We seem to be living in a linear time, but it's just when we really look, we see that am I in linear time? because I can only be aware of now. So where's past and future and present? They're made up. There's only now. The Holy Spirit says, take this very instant and think of it as all that is. He wants us to get into this seeing that the past is gone, and the past has only been thoughts about things, and the future is only thoughts about things. It's all thought, nothing but thought. I can only be affected by my thoughts. So all my whole seemingly time on the timeline has been nothing but my relationship with my thoughts. I'm not actually in time. I'm in a state of a relationship with my thoughts that tell me about things on the projected world. We start unwinding from these beliefs because they're just thoughts. Literally, I don't see anything as it is. I can't know something except through a thought. Everything is thought. So I give up all the thoughts. The ego is the thoughts. And I come to know my holy self through the thoughts or the voice for God. The ego tells me lots of things about myself, but the ego is just a thought. Everything I think about myself is just a thought. And thoughts can be changed. So everything is thought. The whole world is made up of thought. And thoughts can change, therefore my world can change. So yes, nothing has any meaning. The ego rushes in to put a meaning on it. But God will show us the true meaning if we ask. The Holy Spirit will, God's Spirit. God's answer to us trying to hide out, not doing a very good job. Can't hide from God. Can't hide from the love that you are. So we use this world as a classroom to go home. Once we see there's nothing here for value, we give up the values of the world. We give up trying to seek and get and attain and grasp. It's like, I think he even says at some stage, the ego's like clawing at things here, trying to get. We just also see our brothers asleep with us. The ego's fragmented into billions of pieces. The same ego splintered, like a mirror dropped, and it's all in its, but it's one mirror, but it's just splintered and it's coming back together. It's all connected. We all come home together. Everything, every loving thought you hold helps the one mind awaken. We can't know how that works, but it does. And in truth, we're all awake. We're never left our source. We're in God's mind now. We can remember that. So now we're going to have 10 minutes of silence. We'll just sit together in silence. So I'm going to mute my microphone and I'm going to put a timer on for 10 minutes. And I'm just going to say a prayer for this 10 minutes. We dedicate the 10 minutes. You can say your own little prayer if you like after I've said mine. So give your 10 minutes of dedication. It's really you can just decide if you're feeling just to sit in quietness and just go into the silence. Generally, the prayer is the Holy Spirit bring anything into my mind that I need to know from what we've shared today, what you've brought up, and giving it over. So when you say, Holy Spirit, I give this to you, I don't want this anymore, it doesn't serve me, help me see this differently, give me another perception. I release my judgment on this, I open up, I bring to doubt this idea that I think is true. I bring it up for another way of perceiving it. The third step is that some other way is going to come in to help shift that belief. It may have already come in through, it sometimes come in instantly, but we just sit in the silence for 10 minutes and say, Holy Spirit, if there's anything I need to know, I just sit in readiness to hear it. So we just give these 10 minutes over for something to be revealed. You might be called to remember something someone has said in the group. He's going to use everything to just bring something into our minds to help us focus on what we need to shift. So bring the miracle. So thank you. Just go into the silence now.